Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of New World, a Korean crime film from 2013 that was directed by Park Hoon-jung and stars Lee Jung-jae, Choi Min-sik, and Jung-min. After the unexpected death of a mob boss, two predecessors vie over the throne while the cops attempt to instigate conflict within the organization. Now I'll be honest with you, the first time I saw New World, alright, I thought it was a good film, but nothing great. I didn't really understand all the hoopla and why everybody loved it so much. I think the reason for that initial reaction is that we've seen, all of this stuff before. There's definitely, an Infernal Affairs vibe to this, with the undercover cop angle and the way certain plot lines play out. There's also an Election 2 vibe to this, with the higher-level gangster who does not want to take control over the organization, but is being coerced by other people into doing so. So there's definitely a feeling of, familiarity with a lot of the elements in New World. However, after a few repeat viewings over the years, as well as a very recent rewatch a few nights ago, I noticed even more that the actors are so fantastic in this, and the character work and script writing are so legitimately effective that we simply have a situation where a movie is driven by its sheer quality. All right. And performances, as we'll start with, are excellent. All right. Lee Jung-jae is the undercover cop. He's been posing as a gangster for about a decade, and he's fed up with it, which is understandable. His interactions with Choi Min-sik's character are a big part of the film because he's his superior, and their conversations are rather unpleasant most of the time. You can feel the pressure that Lee's character is facing because his situation is becoming more and more dangerous after the death of the crime boss at the start of the movie. That created an environment that's very unstable, and there's an added chance for violence within the organization to vie for power. All right, so his character is pretty well developed. Now, Choi Min-sik's section chief cop character seems harmless enough at the start of the film. He's kind of scruffy looking guy, not very intimidating, but he's intelligent, and he uses his brains, all right? And as the film progresses, you like him as a character less and less. He uses a lot of leverage over his undercover agents, forcing them into doing things and manipulating them as well. He also risks their lives without them knowing. The guy's a real snake in this movie, and that's what makes his character so compelling. Now, for me personally, there are some snakes in fiction who I actually root for. I mean, you're looking at the guy who was a fan of Littlefinger in Game of Thrones, and I was actively rooting for him to win in that show, all right? So that's kind of the perspective I'm coming from, because I'm usually a fan of characters who are smart enough to manipulate situations in their favor, even if they're evil. I respect their ability to do that. But for some reason, in this movie, I just could not root for Choi Min-sik's character, even though he was the manipulator guy, the puppet master, so to speak. He's the kind of manipulator you want to see get taken down. So yeah, I found that kind of interesting, because I usually root for characters like this in movies, but in this one I did not. And then we have the man who completely steals the show from everyone, Jung-min. He's just outstanding in this movie. He reminds me a little bit of his character from A Bittersweet Life, because he's always real surly, kind of has an attitude problem, but his charisma is just through the roof. And in all honesty, almost all of the best scenes in this movie involve Jung-min. I think he just steals the film. So entertaining to watch. And I think this is one of his best performances of his entire career. And then as an added bonus, we have Song Ji-ho in a supporting role. I'm a big fan of hers, so it's nice to see her here. Great cast. They play properly developed characters who have understandable motivations. One possible flaw, though, is that there's really no development whatsoever for the main protagonist's pregnant wife, who's one of his primary motivations to continue playing this triad game. We barely see her in the film, and she's completely forgettable as a character. I've covered a lot of female-centric movies on this channel that are really good, New World is decisively a male-centric movie, though. The male characters like drive everything, and a few of the female characters that we get are kind of on the periphery of things. Now, this is sufficiently violent, but not horrifically so. The film opens with, a dude gets tortured, forced to eat cement, thrown in a barrel, and then thrown in the sea. So, these gangsters are not messing around. But it doesn't get, insanely gory or anything like that. There are some memorable moments, like when the first mole is outed, the parking garage brawl, and the elevator fight are, big time. So I think, New World is something that is very familiar on its surface, but it does what great gangster films typically do. It provides compelling character interaction that climaxes during a handful of, violent moments. I strongly recommend this. I really like this, and I seem to like it more and more every time I watch it. If you have not seen this, it's considered a modern classic by a lot of people, and you should definitely check it out. It's certainly available on streaming and also on physical media. And as always, we will see you next time.